playtime. Let's introduce Stephanie Hansen, former Newcastle County Council President, now with the law firm of Young, Conaway, Stargate and Taylor, and Michael Stafford, who is also an attorney. He is a syndicated columnist as well, who's contributed to MSNBC. Thank you both for being here again.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
We're going to start with DEFAC numbers, and they're not as bad as they were, but they still don't. The projection still doesn't get us out of the woods budget-wise. What do you think that says about our budget and what we can anticipate come end of the fiscal year?
Well, I mean, to me, I think there's a broad recognition that many of our funding, our revenue sources are sort of inherently unstable. You can't fund a state government year to year based on gaming revenues or property escheat. And I think there's a broad recognition of that. What it's going to mean long term, you have to pay for the government you want.
Right.
So once we identify the size of government that we want and the services we want it to provide, we have to identify stable revenue streams that are going to fund that. And the most stable revenue streams are income taxes, gross receipt taxes, property taxes. I mean, things that aren't going to be subject to significant variance over time. That's where this is going to have to move. I don't think you can do this with a lotto or by pumping more money into supporting casinos or things of that nature.
Stephanie?
Well, that's true. I mean, the big thing that the DEFAC report did is it showed us where we're most vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And we're most vulnerable because we do plan our budgets, which are really based on unstable revenue sources, on unclaimed property taxes and, on unclaimed property and on gambling revenue, mm-hmm. which are inherently unstable. So now we have DEFAC telling us that we need to do something. Here's our alarm. But we have I believe the governor put together a committee that then looked at where we're going to raise revenue from, and they have a couple of suggestions. One suggestion is to lower the income tax, bar for the wealthiest Americans. So the wealthiest Americans wealthiest Delawareans would pay more. Also, the wealthiest seniors may be paying more. Reducing the corporate income tax, but then increasing the gross receipts tax. Now, which of those things or something different will actually see passed at this time next month? Mm-hmm. It's a wild card right now. Nothing is really gathering a whole lot of steam or momentum. There's still a lot of discussion going on, so it's really, really hard to predict where it's going to go.
No one does a budget this way. I don't understand why we can't have, is there a possibility we could move back the deadline where these numbers from these unstable revenue streams could maybe be solidified sooner? I mean, to me that sounds like a good idea. I don't know if that's even a possibility or if it's just a pipe dream.
Well, it is a good idea. I'm not so sure how administratively that's going to work. I know one of the things, actually, what I think is probably a good idea, and it came from the other side of the aisle, it came from the Republican side of the aisle, was to look at.
She sounded surprised.
She did.
I know. Sometimes good things happen on the other side. But they have come up with the idea. Well, let's take a look at how we're spending money, because then maybe we can get ahead of this issue. So we have DEFAC that says, here's our problems. We have the governor's report saying, here's how we're going to raise money. But then we have this other idea that says, let's look at how we're spending money. Now, what they want to do is to create a new council or a new committee, a standing council or committee that every year is going to evaluate our spending. I think that's probably a bridge too far at this point. It's a couple of steps too far. I think what we need, though, is a snapshot on where are we spending our money? Are there places that we're not getting quite the bang for the buck that we should? And maybe that's because the idea of putting together another council or another committee, that is a very political proposition. Who gets on the committee? Who chairs the committee at that point? How many votes is it going to take, a supermajority or something, to get something out? What is it even the committee going to look at? If you want to take the politics out of it, you're not going to form a new council or a new committee. That's a way to put politics really into it.
You can't talk about raising revenue or cutting spending in particular areas without it being a political discussion. And that's, it's always broad. It's very easy to talk about, look at how we spend money, look for efficiencies in a general way, but when you get down into the weeds of particular programs and services, the devil's always in the details with these kind of proposals.
And that's why it would be good to take a look at a snapshot right now. Where are we spending money right now?
Okay, well, we're going to switch over now to an interesting bill that surfaced from State Senator Bryan Townsend. And it's an education-tied bill, but he wants to raise the state requirements for who we select as future secretaries of education. Secretary Mark Murphy, under this bill, would not qualify for the position based on classroom experience and things like that. Michael, do you think this bill was a personal attack?
I think you'd have to ask Senator Townsend that. I think the timing, given the conflict with priority schools in Christina's school district, that Senator Townsend he represents a large swath of that district, and he was very involved in that. I think Senator Townsend is one of our best state senators in Dover right now, quite honestly. Whether it was a personal attack or not, I think he'd have to answer that question. But it certainly does appear to be to address a deficiency that many people in the community feel is present with the current Secretary of Education, that he doesn't have the qualifications. And if you think about it, I mean, there is an argument to be made that the Secretary of Education in the state of Delaware should have the credentials to be, say, a superintendent. But it's setting aside the credentialing issues, I think one of the things that's been exposed over the past year and a half is that when you're picking department heads in DOE or the Secretary of Education, having local ties, deep local ties, matters. Because when the hard discussions come up, you've got to have somebody who has credibility with people in the school community, whether it's DSEA, superintendents, parent groups. They've got a track record, and there's trust, there's social capital that they can sort of trade on. And I think maybe in the past year and a half we've seen a Department of Education that just doesn't have that bank that it can spend down when the hard questions come up.
From what I've heard, the biggest beef that a lot of educators might have against Secretary Murphy is he just lacks that classroom experience. This would set a bar for how many years of classroom experience a Secretary of Education would be required to have. Stephanie, are you surprised that the state didn't have these sorts of requirements in place already?
Well, it's not that they didn't have any requirements. They had some, but they didn't have this stringent of requirements. This is really, I think, more a vote of no confidence. Sort of in Secretary Murphy at this point, and to a degree, sort of a vote of no confidence in Governor Markell for choosing him, because it's anytime you add on more requirements for the person that the governor can choose to fill his cabinet, you're kind of saying we don't trust you to fill it with someone that gives us confidence that they're going to do a good job.
Okay, we're going to leave things right there. Stephanie Hansen, Michael Stafford, thank you so much for being here on State of Play. And you can check out this segment on our website, newsworks.org/Delaware.